So this is the final chapter of Java Fundamentals. I hope you've been working through each of the practical exercises throughout this course, and if you have, well done for completing it. We have covered quite a lot in this course. We started right from the basics of installing Java, the Java Development Kit, and our development environment. In the early chapters, we focused on the core Java syntax. We looked at data types, control flow, and comparing strings. And then we got into the real core of what Java is all about, object-oriented programming. We now understand what a class is, what objects are, and how to work with objects. For example, we can create arrays of objects. Next, we looked at how to structure our code into packages, and we started to look at the Java library in a bit more detail. We spent quite a bit of time looking at how numbers work in Java. No one programmer knows the entire Java library, so don't forget that the Java docs are there to help you understand how every class within the library can be used. Garbage collection is important in Java. We didn't talk a lot about it, as there's little that we can control, but you do need to be careful not to be generating too much garbage in your application. Next, we moved on to some more advanced topics like inheritance and overriding, and we also saw how to correctly implement equals and toString. We spent some time exploring exception handling and how creating custom exceptions can be a useful tool for creating efficient, usable code. One of the nice things about Java is that you can integrate and automate unit testing with JUnit. The green bar is a quick indicator that everything is continuing to work just as you want it to. Now, we used arrays earlier on in the course, but in chapter 21 we converted these into more professional collections. We left it late because we needed to practice the Java library first, but you'll find that almost always you will use these collections rather than arrays. Arrays are only really suitable when very simple, small structures are needed. Next, we covered some of the more difficult object-oriented topics, polymorphism and interfaces. Again, don't worry if you're not fully comfortable with these concepts right now. You will be using them a lot as you progress with your Java career. We then worked with databases using the JDBC library. This gives us a good understanding of how databases can be used from Java, although in most real-world projects we use a framework to make database communication simpler. Virtual Pair Programmers has a course dedicated to the Hibernate framework, which I'd recommend if you're interested in working with databases. And finally, we saw how to deploy our projects, and we had our first real experience of using an external Java library. You will be using a lot of jar files in future, and you may well be creating your own jar files that others will use. Now, there are many ways you could take the project that we have been working on further. There are some things you could do that would make our code cleaner or more robust. For example, you might want to add some more JUnit tests, and you will probably want to look at the package structure. Because we're learning, I didn't use the conventional naming structure for packages, and I didn't think too hard about how to structure our classes in the most appropriate way. In general, it's a good idea to have no more than, say, 8 classes in any one package, and you could, for example, have decided to have a material package, a customer package, and so on. One thing we haven't done with our project is create a usable graphical interface. Now, there's a good reason for this. Most Java projects are server applications that you might access through a web page. They don't have graphical interfaces of their own. It is possible to create a runnable graphical interface that will work on a PC, Mac or Linux machine using the Swing library built into Java, or another third-party graphical interface library such as SWT, the standard widget toolkit. In fact, the Eclipse development environment that we have been using on this course is written using this library. I haven't covered it in this course, as most commercial Java projects are based on servers and don't therefore use these kinds of libraries. More common is creating server-based web applications in Java. That's where the server that is controlling the website is running Java. A really good example of this is eBay. Some of eBay's code is written in Java, and this code runs on eBay servers, but not on the computer of the users of eBay. Virtual Pair Programmers has a course dedicated to creating Java web applications called Java Web Development. If you are interested in this topic, then you've got everything you need to start this course straight away. If you are starting your career in Java development and looking for jobs, one good idea might be to do the Java Web Development course, apply what you learn in that course to our library project, and then place your working interface somewhere online. You can then show this as an example of your work to prospective employers. There is an official exam in Java run by Oracle. This is called the Oracle Certified Professional Java SE 7 Programmer. Our course that you've just finished has focused on real-world Java programming. The exam will test things that aren't as commonly used in the real world. For example, you will need to understand the difference between a float and a double in more detail than we have covered. If you are interested in Java certification, you can find out more about the options available on the Oracle website. Good luck with the exams if you do go down that route. There are a couple of websites I'd like to recommend as good sources for more information about how to do things in Java. Probably the most useful is Stack Overflow. I've shown this site before on the course. It's a question and answer site where you can post your own questions and other people will respond to them, or you can search through for questions others have already asked. Java Ranch is a friendly site hosting a number of Java-related forums, including one on beginning Java. And of course, there are some good books available on Java. Now, don't go searching for the books or DVDs I've used as examples in our library project. I'm afraid, to the best of my knowledge, Steven Spielberg still hasn't produced an epic sequel about Java, but I have personally used Core Java by Kay Horstman. One thing to be aware of with this book is that it is split into 2 volumes, and the advanced volume covers some of the concepts that we've covered in this fundamentals course, like databases and collections. 2 other books worth looking at are Head First Java. This book is good if you want to learn about building graphical user interfaces, and Head First Design Patterns. This isn't Java specific, but is a good book for learning object orientation and does have lots of Java examples throughout. So that's the end of the fundamentals course. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you've learned a lot. I do encourage you to now look at one of the follow-on courses available on the Virtual Pair Programmers website, but whatever you do, wherever you plan to take Java, good luck!